Hello. My name's Sam and welcome to my channel, So Let's Sparkle with Sam. Come and have a social day with me. Good morning, it is Monday and it is about 9 o'clock in the morning. My day started very much earlier than that. So my day started at about 6 o'clock this morning, and I kind of made a decision that I want to start running a bit more again. I used to run. In fact, that's how me and Simon met, kind of. Kind of ran into each other. And yeah, and we used to run together a lot. And he carried on and I kind of stopped. And then I did the couch 5k again in fact, I know exactly when because it was on my app this morning, in 2018, and I did it again in 2019. And me and my daughter was running quite a lot during lockdown, but after lockdown I just kind of stopped. I still do my yoga, but as far as cardio is concerned, I just stopped doing it. And over the last few months, those of you that have been following along with my story will know that over the last few weeks, I've been suffering with a bit of burnout, and I've been having kind of a little bit of a low mood and zero energy. So I've just decided to be a bit proactive about it, and rather than sit there and wallow and think, oh, you know, things are, I'm just going to do something about it. So I've started the couch to 5k. My first run was this morning, week 1, run 1. Here is a sweaty beetroot photo of me to prove that I did it. I did it with the lovely Sarah Millican. So if you don't know the app, it's a downloadable. It's called the NHS Couch to 5k, and it's a running program. And it's just basically, though, if you have got quite low fitness for cardio and you just want to build yourself back up again, it's a great one for that because it's intermittent walking and running. And it's nicely timed, and the lovely Sarah Millican keeps saying really motivational things like, you can do it, pet, keep on going, you've got this. And you know what, that's what I need. So yeah, so I'm going to do week 1 and week 2 on my own, and then my daughter will then finish school. She's a teacher, she'll finish school, and she's going to join me from week 3 onwards so that we can help motivate each other. Her level of fitness is much better than mine. So she said, I'll let you start week 1 and week 2 and get you, back into it. Because it's not just the running, it's the mental attitude. So she said, just get yourself back into it. And then, yeah. So I did that this morning. Then I came back, had a little chat to Simon, sent him off to work, had a cup of tea, had a shower. And then I had a little scroll on my phone. I mean, this is a spend a day with me. So this is what happens. I didn't film it, but I had a little scroll on my phone because I think I found a contender for Scottish Frocktails. So I am going to Scottish Frocktails this year in September. I am planning to make myself a frock, and I've been kind of playing in my mind with kind of, do I want to do a dress? Do I want to do a top and trouser? Do I want to do something completely different? And like most things, I knew when I saw it, I knew that I'd seen it. So I'm not going to tell you any more than that at the moment, other than I think I found the one. So I need to do a bit more research. I need to think about fabrics. I need to do all those things. But yeah, so I'm really excited because I love it. I love it when I get a new kind of project to obsess over, because that's the way I roll. So yeah, so the reason I brought you on to Mondays is that Mondays is quite a good day for me. I tend to be quite productive. I tend to get quite a lot of sewing done, and I teach in the afternoon. So I'm teaching 4 lovely ladies this afternoon, and if they allow me, I'll bring you along to that as well. But first things first, I've got my cup of positivity Let me just bring it round. I've got my positivity, I've got my cuppa. It's actually a bit warm, so I might pop it back down again because it's a bit hot. And I'm going to sit and finish the Mave skirt that I've been making for my daughter. So those of you that watched my last week's Thursday Sparkles will know that my daughter has asked for, as a birthday present, for a rah-rah skirt. So a rah-rah skirt, they're all coming back in now. I'll put the picture that she sent me up here. It's kind of a tiered layered skirt, but the layers are on the outside. And rather than kind of going layering underneath, I've used the Mave skirt pattern. So here's what I've done so far. I've used the Mave skirt pattern. I think I might enter this for the pattern hackathon, which is being run by, I can't remember her name. I'll pop her name up here from Chris from Unsocial. I'm so sorry. I'm rubbish with names. As soon as they come in my head, they go, from Unsocial. I'm going to be really, I'd got a little bit confused on kind of how you kind of enter and how you join in with that. And I know that there are different categories that you can enter, but I think that you can just enter any pattern hack as well, I think. So that's what I'm going to plan to do. But mine does fit into one of the categories of a kind of simple, keep it simple, stupid, I think it is, keep KISS. Yeah, because this pattern doesn't have very many pieces. But yeah, it's the Mave skirt. And what I've done is I've done the short version of the Mave skirt. So I've done everything exactly like that and without the ruffles. And then the ruffles, what I did with the ruffles is I just measured the skirt and I increased it by 1.5. And then I've used a rolled hem on the top of the ruffles and the bottom of the ruffles. And if you want to know how I do a rolled hem, I've got a little short video, but I can also put it on the end of this video if anyone wants to watch to the end and see how I set my overlocker up for a rolled hem. And then, yeah, I just popped the waistband on. It was fairly simple. I mean, the gathering took a bit of time, but it was a fairly simple make. And then I've got the holes here all ready for the drawstring, and the drawstring I have made with just a piece of leftover bias binding that I had, because I have not a single scrap of this fabric left over, because I just literally used the ruffles. So yesterday my lovely Leah came over for Sunday lunch and tried it on, and the fit is pretty perfect. So I can't tell you how happy that made me, because you know what it's like when you make for someone else. And obviously I've taken her measurements, but you just don't know, do you? You just don't know. So from her measurements, I made her a size 10. And I just need to take it in a little bit of the waist. I just need to nip a little tiny bit in, but I'm glad that I didn't make it any smaller, because it kind of proportionally, I think it fits her really nicely everywhere else. And the other little thing that she's asked me to do is she's asked me to make it a little bit shorter, which I kind of knew that she would want it a bit shorter, which is fine. I have no problem with that. I kind of knew she wanted to make it a bit shorter, but I made it the kind of mini length, because obviously I can make it shorter, I can't make it longer. So what she's asked me to do is actually take it right up to this level here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure down, and then I'm just going to do another rolled hem. My overlocker is already set up for the rolled hem with the white thread, so I'm going to do that and get that done this morning. And then I just need to finish off all the edges inside. And as I said, the elastic, I've just bought it in a tiny little bit, but other than that, do that. And yeah, so I'm going to make Leah's skirt, so I'm going to go and do that now. See you in a bit. So it is about 10:30 and I have finished the skirt. So it's all finished. I've put the drawstring through. I have finished the elasticated waistband by sewing in the channels. Still nice and stretchy. And then I have finished off the bottom with the rolled hem, and I've also finished off all the inside, so it's nice and neat and tidy. I did want to put some kind of label inside, but I kind of want my daughter to choose it, so I think I'll leave that for another day. I will need to give it a quick press and then she can come and get it and try it on. So yeah, you'll have to watch my Instagram for a picture of this, because I'm not going to put it on because this is far too short for me. I'm probably a bit too small, but yeah, so that's a good jobbed. So knock everything over in my sewing room. So yeah, so I'm going to go make myself another cup of tea, and I'm feeling a little bit peckish. I always find that I need a little kind of mid-morning snack when I've done a run, so I'm going to go and grab a banana or something and a cup of tea, and then I'm going to get on with my next sewing project. So my next sewing project is actually a project that has been in the naughty corner for quite a while. So back at the Stitch Festival, I bought some gorgeous purple tie-dye fabric. I'll pop a picture of as far as I've got, if I can find a picture of it up here. And I went about making some dungarees for my youngest son, Joe, baby Sparkles. And I did them based on basically pattern hacking a Julian Martinez pattern that I've got, and the Heyday pattern, and also a pair of dungarees that Joe wears. And when I made them all, proportionally, it all looked fine. And then when he put them on, everything wasn't quite in the right place. So this morning, when I was doing my scrolling and watching bits and pieces on YouTube, I unpicked. So I basically unpicked the dungarees. So as you can see, I've unpicked all of the pockets. I've unpicked the side seams. I've unpicked this front pocket piece because that needs to be realigned. And I've unpicked everything. And then what I want to do is I want to just re-sew everything in, but in the new place. So I've replaced everything. I would quite like baby Sparkles to kind of do a quick try on, but I think he might still be in the land of snoozing. So so yeah, I might go downstairs and loudly make a cup of tea and eat a banana and see if I can rouse him to try these on so I can get them done. Right, I've just gone and spoke very nicely to baby Sparkles and made him a cup of tea. He didn't want to be on camera because he's not really awake yet. So, but I did manage to get him over the top of his pyjamas to try on the dungarees, and I've nailed it. So now everything is in the right place. So I had to move the pocket down by a good 3 inches. I needed to move this pocket up by about 1 inch, and I just had to ever so slightly lower this. I'm basically just taking this bit apart and just open the seam allowance by a little tiny bit. Apart from that, everything else is good to go. So I've got to top stitch all those pockets, which did take me quite a long time. So I've got to do that, and then obviously sewn all the side seams back up, and then buttonholes and buttons, and that is done. So I do want to get this done before Wednesday because Joe is off to a festival on Wednesday, and he would quite like to take these with him because they are very kind of festival attire. So I do want to get them finished by Wednesday. I'm going to try and see if I can find some kind of sparkly button or something like that, which I think he'll really appreciate. But I don't know how much of them I'm actually going to get done today. So I'm going to set a little timer for myself. I'm going to give myself 45 minutes, find something to listen to, podcast or something, and just get as much done as I can. And then I need to break for lunch and get ready for my sewing class this afternoon. So yeah, let's see how much I get done. So I'm over at my sewing machine with Joe's dungarees. I have done one of the buttonholes and I have found these gorgeous orange buttons. I was going to go shiny, but I think this big contrast will be brilliant. And I think orange and purple, well, I just think they're great. So I think that will look fantastic. So I've put one buttonhole in. I'm going to do another buttonhole the other side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew a couple of buttons at different increments on here, so that he'll do them up that way and then you can see the button coming through. I've done that on a few of my dungarees and I prefer that way because then that means that the tie is on the inside of the dungaree. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I have sewn the other pockets on and I've sewn up the side seams. I haven't finished all the top stitching yet, but I thought let's see if I can make them wearable and then go from there. So I've got my buttonhole all set up. So let's see if it will do the job for me today. Let's go. Seems to be doing the job okay. That satisfying beep. There we have it. Okay, I've got to stop now because it is nearly 12 o'clock and I've got to have some lunch and then pack my bag and I've got to be at my sewing class at 1 o'clock. So I've got to get a move on. So these are finished. They look much better now proportionately. The only thing that I haven't done is I top stitched all the way down and I haven't top stitched where I've unpicked. So I will just one night, probably tonight, I will just sit on the sofa and unpick everything properly with a lint roller and make sure I've got every little bit and then top stitch those. And then the other thing that I've got to do in front of the telly is sew the buttons on. So I've marked where I want the buttons to be and I'll put them on. But yeah, I think a skirt for my daughter and dungarees for my son is pretty good for a morning's work. And I've done a run, so I'm quite pleased with myself. So yeah, so what I've got to do now is pack my bag ready to for my sewing class. Yeah, so I'm going to go and do that, grab myself some lunch, and I'll see you in a bit later. Hello again. So it's 9 o'clock at night, so I've done a full 12 hours, and the reason I've come on now is I was planning on coming on a bit earlier, but it all just got a bit crazy, which happens in my house from time to time. So I've finished my sewing session with the lovely ladies. So I actually go to a lady's house and we all meet there. And there's 4 ladies that I teach. And we were all making the duo top from So Different. One lady completed hers and I'll pop a picture of hers up here. She made it to match the pyjama bottoms that we've made in a previous lesson. And all of the ladies did really well. I didn't get any footage because it's in somebody's house. It didn't seem very appropriate, but we had a lovely 3 hours and we had lots of giggles and tea and biscuits and sewing fun. And next week we're going to be having our sewing on a boat, so you can bet that that is going to be filmed. And so yeah, so that was really good. And then as Simon came and picked me up after work, and as we were driving home, my daughter texted and said, oh, is there any chance I can come to your house and wait for her boyfriend? She was at a conference in Birmingham, so she was coming home on the train. And I said, oh, well, we're actually just going past the train station, we'll come and pick you up. So we did, and then they all ended up coming back here. I cooked a chicken and pasta bakey thing, you know, everything in a pan, as you do. And we've all just had a lovely dinner, and we just finished with a glass of wine. So yeah, so that was kind of like the rest of my day. So that's kind of how my day has panned out and how my day is finished. But there was a few other things that I just wanted to tell you about. So at the weekend, I went and purchased myself a new notebook, and I've just made myself a Sew That Sparkle label on my B notebook with my new pen. So this is my new notebook and pen for my Sewing Bee synopsis videos. So those of you that watch me will know that I do a Sewing Bee synopsis video when the Sewing Bee is coming out, and it is coming out next Tuesday, which is so exciting. And I have invited you over to my Facebook group if you want to join my sweepstake. And I have about 900 members there now, and lots of people have asked to join the sweepstake, and it's lovely to have you all there. Just a little note that if you are trying to join, there are 2 little questions you have to answer, and it just says, yes, I'll be kind. But you get automatically declined if you don't answer those questions. So if you do want to join, I'm very happy to have you there. Just remember to answer those questions. And if you have not answered those questions and you have been automatically declined, just go again. And as long as you answer those questions, you will be accepted. So yeah, I'm very excited to do that as well. Just trying to think, I'm sure there was something else that I was going to tell you about today, because today's just been a really wonderful day. I hope you've enjoyed kind of joining along with me, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing what I've been up to. Oh yes, that was the thing. Obviously, my daughter came over, so she did quickly pop the skirt on. We've not taken any proper photos, but I did get a quick snap of her in the garden, so I will pop it up there, and it fits like a dream, and she's really, really pleased with it. And Baby Sparkles has also tried on his dungarees, but he's not happy with the buttons. So I'm going to try again with the buttons. I actually really like the orange buttons. He wasn't that keen, so we're going to try again. You win some, you lose some. Hi, it's Editing Sam here. Now I managed to get Baby Sparkles on the next day, and I've managed to put some different buttons on his overalls, and as you can see by his superb posing done in his very special way, he seems okay with them, but I'll leave it to Joe to tell you how he feels about them. So Joe, Baby Sparkles, what do you think of my sewing?
I mean, I love some of the stuff you make me. I don't like other stuff that you make me, but overalls, I like them.
So I hope you really enjoyed joining me with my social sewing day, and don't forget to sparkle. See you really soon. Bye for now. So this is how I get my machine ready to do a lovely neat rolled hem. So the first thing you need to do is that you need to take your first thread off, and you need to use the little tool that you get in the box to remove the needle. So you need to remove the left needle. So you put your tool in, you'll need to put something underneath to catch it, to make sure, and also make sure that you tighten the screw afterwards so you don't lose the screw when you take the needle out. The next thing you need to do is remove something called the stitch finger. So if you open up your machine, now this is the stitch finger. Here, I put mine neatly back in. So, and it just goes in here. And you just pull it out. And then it goes neatly back in. She says it does go in. And then you need to make sure that this dial here, you switch to R. And then there's another dial. Oops. And then there's another dial on this side that you also need to switch to R. And then it's a case of just making sure that you've got the correct tension. I find that if I change, let me just move you back a little tiny bit. If I change these two loopers to 6 rather than 4, because they're normally set at 4, between 6 and 7, I find that that gives me a nice rolled hem. So let's have a go and see if that's worked. Let's put my catching tray back in. Put my material under. Now you'll find that sewing a rolled hem is slower than sewing a normal overlocking stitch. They have a beautifully neat rolled hem.